So Rick, we're going to do a few questions here. We're going to kind of like some rapid fire. First one is, how does underbidding hurt your business?
Underbidding is we talk about all the time. It's one of those areas that when you're starting off in this industry, you really don't understand how to price and quote. So it's a learning curve. You're trying to understand, you're trying to look for help and get the formula, but there is no the formula. It's what city you live in, how much employees you have, what's your overhead, how much profit you want to make. So there's a lot of factors and variables. So I think as long as you as a business owner are comfortable with the way you're bidding, it may not be underbidding in your scenario. But I think there is a threshold that the industry should have, though, where underbidding doesn't affect the quality of work. And if we do that right, then it raises the bar across the industry.
Awesome.
So, Mike, why should a cleaning company, have core values and a mission?
Yeah, so it's one of those things in the early days. Do you have time for that? Do you create a mission, or you're like, my mission, I got to clean this, got to win this contract and get it clean. But when you think about, you're trying to attract two things in your business. You're trying to attract clients and your team, your employees. So when you have core values of why you, and what's important to you, how you function, how do you make decisions, you can speak to that so you don't look like every other cleaning company out there. And I think that's where it can be really powerful. You see companies are driving so far and so fast with growth because their purpose. They've got a purpose behind them that people want to jump on board. I mean, look at your guys' company.
So I'm going to compound on that question too, though, because I think this is a good one where we have values and mission on the walls. How do you circle back and make sure you're following through with the mission and the values? Because it's one thing if it's on the wall, and it's one thing if you hear them in your first day of your interview or your first onboarding day. But I think companies struggle with making sure they stick and they're bought in because again it's all talk unless you're really executing.
Yeah, it's kind of like the different phases. I've had a number of different businesses, and some of them I had very early, didn't do any of it, and it was kind of not super helpful.
Yeah.
Then I had ones like, oh no, I've got to do this. You read it in the book. Okay, I've got it. Boom, 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 plastered everywhere, and you never go back to it. Now what I find, what we do at Swept, and what I'm seeing with a lot of other cleaning companies, is they're saying, bring it up at meetings, and not just like, we're going to review this again, but like, hey, I noticed that this person made this decision and it was really effective. And by the way, that's living up to our values. Like that's how they made that decision. That's why they made. So it's like really wrapping it into the day-to-day conversation. It's still on the wall. It's still there for people to be front and center. But that's, I think, you have to work it into the story.
How do you bring it back into a meeting?
Yeah,
it's relevant?
So for us, because we're living them, so a couple of hours are like human but high performing, meaning like we're not robots, we're humans. We have good things in life, challenging things in life, and but we still need to perform together. And if one of your teammates isn't able to perform because of something that's going on, then you step up for them. So it's like it's really around you as an individual, but as a team. So if someone is off with COVID and our customers need us, and someone steps in, that's human but high performing. Like you were sick and you actually stepped out of the office and you let someone know so that they could cover for you. Or like we obsess about our customers. So when we see a teammate go over and above, we're like, you're living the values, they're living the values because you are obsessing and taking care of her. So it's really about just keeping it, folding it.
Yeah.
Right?
And again, I just feel like this is so important because the foundation of a company is that, right? And it's not that they're just words, but you got to live by them. What about, do you have mission and core values and the vision for the client side and employee side? Can they be the same? Or have you seen that they could be different? Yeah.
So for us, they're the same. We have, 4 core values. So like we lead the conversation. So like you guys also lead the conversation in the industry. Look at the studio that you're, all the stuff that you're doing. So it's really about leading the conversation in the product you're building, leading it in the way you approach, customer success and support. And as cleaning companies, like it's the same thing. Like how you function and how you attract a cleaner is something similar how you attract a client and how you conduct. So it's really all the way across the business.
So think about like how we both actually talk about it too, is like empowering the cleaning industry, right?
Yeah.
Like that's never been a value or a mission for us, but we've by default been doing that. So now it's just something that came up to my mind is like, whether it's Route, Rosalato, RCM, Swept, the cleaning of cocktails, right? Like, it's all, we're shooting for one thing. It's empowering the space.
Yeah,
So it's like, for me, like that's how you bring it all together.
So at what point do you need software in your cleaning company? Because I hear this a lot. People, are we big enough? Are we ready? Da, da, da. Like, how do you view that? At what point?
Great question. I think it really depends on the company, and it depends on the leader and the management team of the company, right? Because if you're a small business owner in the beginning, you're wearing all the hats, right? Yeah. It's like, which hat do you want to take off and let technology step in and help? Because it's not going to replace it, but it's going to help. For me, it was QuickBooks, right? Invoicing. I was used to, in the beginning, doing Microsoft Word, create the invoice, send it out. Not efficient. Very manual process. Yeah. So for us, it was, how do we get our invoices out? Because if we didn't get paid, which right? If you don't get paid in a substantial amount of time, how can you can't hire?
The wages
people.
are still going.
Wages are still going. But you have payroll is every week, every 2 weeks. So for us, the accounting portion was important, and then I would say software that helps with workforce, which is when you came in, right? Sweat for us. When we found Sweat, we didn't really know what we were looking for. We tried many things, but then it was when we found you guys, right? It helped us manage our team. Our team was growing. We couldn't communicate with them. We couldn't have visibility. So I think the minute your team grows to where it's just not you, in our space especially, if it's not you doing the cleaning and you have others involved, technology needs to step in, because you'll always be cleaning if that's the case.
Totally. And for me, when people ask, it's like, software is so generic. There's so many pieces of technology that you could use. It's like, what pain are you solving for? So to me, it's like, it doesn't matter what size you are. Do you have something that's driving you crazy that technology can help with?
That's a good point.
Then you are large enough. You are at that point, like, you need to get that solved. So
really not labeling it. Yeah. It's just when it could be a different type of pain point.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. That's a good point. You owned your own cleaning business, many other businesses, and you built technology. But when you were on the service provider side, what were the top 3 things that when you looked for software that were triggers or things that you looked at and looked for?
You see an ad and you're like, oh, this looks really interesting. You get pulled all the way down through, you go through a demo, and it's like, do I actually need this? So it's like really understanding the needs. Ease of use was another one for us, really making sure that, and so we built our software internally for ourselves because we didn't really see the solution we're looking for. And Deborah was one of our cleaners who's a grandmother. It's like, if we can build this for Deborah to use, then everyone can use it.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm not good with technology. She'd hold her phone and she'd like, Deborah, why'd your arm break? Like, what's going on? And so that was like, so for us, it was like really that ease of use had to be so important. And the other side of it was it going to actually help us with our strategic plan, our annual plan? Like, we want to double revenue or whatever it was.
My, add in there is, at first when we were purchasing software, I was looking for the software and signing up, cool, sign up for the demo, pass it on. So we got to think of, everybody should think of is, who are you buying the software for on your team, right? Like, if you're buying a payroll software, will your payroll manager be able to use that software? Because I think where we fall, as business owners or as the people building the tech, if the user that's actually going to use the product has no say, if they're not part of the decision, you're not buying the right software at that point, right? So I learned that, like, present the solution with the team that's going to manage that solution, and if they don't buy in, then you don't buy it, right? Yeah. You move on.
Yeah. Looking way back when you started, what was the biggest mistake you made when building your cleaning company?
A lot of mistakes, but all right. So I think delegation, lack of, right? So always thinking, me or, my Marley or Tony or, we had to do everything first. Like there's no way somebody can come in and do this. We got to do it first, or we know better. We always thought we knew better, and especially because we were so close to the company. Yeah. Everybody, I think, especially in cleaning, the normal road is you start off as you're cleaning first, right? Yeah. And you get really close to the business and your clients. I still have a client to this day that still will not call any of the operations. He calls and texts me, and it's been 6 years, but you're close to that client. That's why. Yeah. But I think it's delegation. People struggle with, it's okay for, let somebody make mistakes. Yeah. They should make mistakes, and you got to be okay with that, because then it's never going to be off your plate, and you're never going to grow. You're never going to scale. Yeah. So I think just being able to let others fail and delegate, because for the first 3-4 years, we didn't let it. it was always us doing everything. But it was the minute others came in to help, where we are today.
Yeah.
You know, we wouldn't be here without all the help of everybody else that we have on the team.
Yeah.
Wish I would have done that year one.
Yeah. And so mine's kind of similar. Like, you start the company, you're super excited, you're running. I did not make a plan for when am I going to hire that first person. Like, so what happened was I got busier and busier, win more contracts. And because I didn't have an intention of when I should stop cleaning and get out of the cleaning myself, I went for months and months and months, like just doing, like all of a sudden I owned a job.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. But I was so into it, and I cared about my customers and my team and all the rest. Like, I'll do it, I'll fix it, I'll do it. And I just got so pulled in. And so had I started and said, you know what, within 1 year, this is where I want to be as a leader and a business owner, I could have worked back from it. Instead, I got stuck in it.
All right. So that actually brings up the org chart, right? Or job descriptions. I tell you, to this day, I did not realize how important job descriptions were. Like when you're growing so much and so fast, you know, it's like, if you don't tie that up or button that up,
Yeah.
you know, my team knows. Like, it took so long for us to make that second org chart where it's like years had gone.
Yep.
But initially, if you tighten up the job description, which when you're a business owner for the first time, you don't really know what that means. Like, you know, you Google, copy, paste.
Yeah.
But that role is maybe a role that was 8 years ago created. So many new role descriptions now. But if you take the time to do that, you take names out of anything, and it's just so I need a area manager now. Why? X, Y, Z. Cool. What does that person look like? Here, let's go find that person.
Yeah.
We winging it, wild west. You know, like that. Actually, you still could grow, but you're gonna have to backtrack. And it's like you should have just done it in the first place, in the beginning.
One of the other things I learned on that same thing is you create this job description, and it's like mission, vision, values. Sometimes like you create it and it goes away. No one ever looks at it. The other is when you actually are using it and people know what is expected of them, and you hire someone else. Well, maybe you have new roles and responsibilities like for this person, but maybe the first person has changed. Like something's changed for them. And so what we found is every time you hire someone new, you have to not just look at
but then the other person
but everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, because now they're going to do this. So what do I not do it? And
because you're so used to doing so many different things, right?
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, somebody wears 10 hats.
Exactly.
And it's okay at that point, but gets to the point where it's not okay. You know, there's an overlap and it could create confusion.
Totally.
Cool. Well, that was some good rapid fire.
There we go.
All right.